Breaking news! As you know, the Miami Dolphins are fighting to make the playoffs. We know that it depends on many factors, including the fact that we need to root for the Denver Broncos to lose to the Bengals in this Saturday's game. Well, I'm not going to put too many expectations on this. Many believe that the season is lost, while others still have faith that we will go further. What's your opinion on this? Do you believe that we will make the playoffs? Leave your comment. If you are a passionate Dolphins fan, hit the like button. Man, I love the Miami Dolphins so much. But the front office needs to make changes. As the team prepares for the 2025 season, tough decisions will need to be made about several players who, based on their recent performances, may not return. In today's breakdown, we're diving into 5 key names on the roster that, for various reasons, have underperformed or failed to meet expectations. These players have been singled out not just for their lack of production, but for the potential savings and strategic advantages their departures could bring. Let's get into the details. First on the list is safety Jevon Holland. Once considered a cornerstone of the Dolphins' defense and a 2020 second-round pick, Holland has had a season to forget. Coming into the year, many fans and analysts, myself included, thought extending Holland's contract was a priority. But fast forward to now, and that perspective has done a complete 180. His tackling has been abysmal, with a missed tackle percentage of 16.4%, the worst of his career. He's allowed a completion percentage of nearly 69% and 274 yards with 2 touchdowns in coverage. To make matters worse, Pro Football Focus has projected his contract value at 4 years, $98 million with $58 million guaranteed. While his potential contract would average $19.5 million annually, his performance does not justify that kind of financial commitment. Paying a player who has regressed every season of his career that amount would be disastrous for the Dolphins. Holland's time in Miami appears to be nearing its end unless he accepts a team-friendly deal, which seems highly unlikely. Next up is fellow safety Jordan Poyer. If you thought Holland's performance was underwhelming, Poyer's has been even worse. Currently ranked as one of the worst safeties in the league, Poyer has been a liability in coverage, allowing a completion percentage of 75% and giving up as many yards as Holland but with an additional touchdown. Quarterbacks have a staggering 141.5 passer rating when targeting Poyer, a near-perfect number that highlights his struggles. Combined, Holland and Poyer represent a safety duo that not only underperforms but drains valuable cap space. The consensus here is clear. Miami needs to overhaul its safety room entirely, whether by targeting players in the draft, promoting younger talent, or seeking affordable free agents who can deliver better results for less money. The third name on this list is offensive lineman Liam Eichenberg. For Dolphins fans, Eichenberg's struggles are no secret. He's been described as one of the worst offensive linemen in football and has repeatedly been a weak link in both pass protection and the run game. This season, he's accumulated 9 penalties and was directly responsible for multiple blown plays against the Houston Texans, where defenders repeatedly overpowered him. Despite splitting snaps with Isaiah Wynn recently, the difference in quality was glaring. Wynn outperformed Eichenberg significantly, and it's clear that Eichenberg's rookie contract expiring this offseason is a blessing in disguise for Miami. Letting him walk would not only improve the team's offensive line but also open opportunities to invest in a more reliable player at his position. Linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. is another player whose time with the Dolphins may be running out. Walker was brought in with the hope that he could provide stability and improve coverage in the linebacker core, especially as David Long Jr. struggled early in the season. However, Walker's performance has been a letdown. Despite a strong history as a top-rated coverage linebacker during his stints with the Colts and Browns, his numbers this season have plummeted. Walker has allowed an 84.4% completion rate and a 102.2 passer rating when targeted. For a player expected to excel in coverage, these statistics are unacceptable. While he has been slightly better against the run, the drop-off in his overall play makes it hard to justify keeping him on the roster. Finally, there's Julian Hill, the Dolphins' third-string tight end who has struggled in every aspect of his game. Despite appearing in every game this season, Hill has managed just 12 receptions for 100 yards. His role as a blocking tight end hasn't been any better, as he ranks poorly in both pass blocking and run blocking, with multiple penalties adding to his lackluster performance. Hill's inability to contribute either offensively or as a blocker makes it puzzling why he continues to receive playing time. For a team with aspirations of contending, Hill's spot on the roster feels more like a liability than an asset. These 5 players represent areas of concern that the Dolphins must address as they look to build a stronger, more competitive roster for the future. Letting them go could free up significant cap space, allowing Miami to target key upgrades in free agency or the draft. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you agree with these assessments? Are there any of these players you believe deserve another shot? Or do you have other names in mind who need to be shown the door? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is a critical time for the Miami Dolphins, and your opinions are a big part of the conversation. Looking ahead, it's crucial to recognize that the decisions made this offseason could define the trajectory of the Miami Dolphins for years to come. With talent like Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill thriving on the offensive side of the ball, the Dolphins are in a win-now mode. However, keeping players on the roster who consistently underperform or fail to meet expectations is a recipe for stagnation, if not outright regression. Let's break down why moving on from these players is not just about freeing up cap space, but also about setting a new standard for what it means to wear the Dolphins uniform. For Jevon Holland, it's a matter of consistency. Early in his career, he showed flashes of brilliance that led many to believe he could be a foundational piece for Miami's defense. Unfortunately, as the stats this season have revealed, his game has not just plateaued but regressed in critical areas like tackling and coverage. At a price tag of nearly $20 million per year, the Dolphins would be tying up valuable resources in a player who hasn't delivered when it matters most. This move, while tough, sends a message: potential is not enough, production is what counts. Jordan Poyer's case is equally compelling. The veteran safety was brought in to provide leadership and stability in the secondary, but his performance has been anything but stable. Allowing a quarterback passer rating of 141.5 when targeted is not only alarming but also indicative of a player who is being exploited by opposing offenses. The Dolphins need to rebuild their safety room from the ground up, focusing on younger, faster players who can provide better value. Drafting a safety in the early rounds or promoting someone like Patrick Morris, a promising sixth-round pick, could be a smart move that balances cost and performance. The offensive line remains one of Miami's perennial challenges, and Liam Eichenberg's tenure has been emblematic of the struggles the team has faced in this area. His inability to protect the quarterback or create running lanes has hampered the offense's ability to operate at full capacity. Moving on from Eichenberg is a no-brainer, but it's equally important for the front office to ensure his replacement is not just serviceable but capable of elevating the unit. Isaiah Wynn has shown he can step in and perform, but depth and competition will be key in transforming the offensive line into a strength rather than a liability. Anthony Walker Jr. and Julian Hill round out this list of underperforming players, and their situations highlight a broader issue: the need for depth players to contribute meaningfully. Walker was expected to be a savvy veteran addition, yet his lackluster coverage abilities have left Miami exposed against teams with strong passing attacks. Hill, on the other hand, has failed to justify his roster spot entirely. For a team with playoff aspirations, carrying players who can't execute at a high level is simply not an option. The Dolphins need to ensure that every spot on the roster is filled with players who can step up when called upon. The good news is that the Dolphins are in a position to address these weaknesses aggressively. With a talented core already in place and an opportunity to create additional cap flexibility by moving on from these 5 players, the front office has the tools to make impactful changes. Whether through smart drafting, shrewd free agent signings, or internal development, Miami has a chance to turn these areas of weakness into strengths. As we wrap up, let's return to the fans. Your voice matters, and this team thrives on the energy and passion of its supporters. What do you think of these 5 players? Are there any you believe could bounce back and deserve another chance? Or do you agree it's time to part ways and start fresh? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. The 2025 season may feel like a long way off, but the decisions made now will set the foundation for what's to come. Let's hope the Dolphins get it right.